Hey, my Israel team. I just wanted to create a video that gives you some updated information because there's a lot I want to share with you, and I didn't feel like a text message was good enough. There was just too much that I could put into a small little text message. So, this video is designed to give you all the updated information that we need for our trip next year. And I just got off the phone with Linda. She is one of the VPs over at Praying Pelican Missions, the company we're using for our trip. And she's also our program coordinator and the lady who's going to be with us when we're in Israel. And she shared a lot of really cool information with me that I want to share with you guys. The very first thing I want to share with you is their journal, kind of a documented journal of everything they did on their trip earlier this year, back in I think it was March, February or March. And this is going to be very, very, very similar to, if not almost identical to exactly what we're going to do next year. I'll have the link to this down below in the show notes. So just scroll down and you'll see it and click show more, and it will bring it down. You can actually see this, get this link and click on it and go through it yourself. But we're going to be visiting Jerusalem, Nazareth, Tiberias, and Bethlehem. So these are some of the major points of interest for us as Christians, and many of the places that Jesus visited and or lived in. And so I'm sure you guys are all familiar with Nazareth, Bethlehem, and Jerusalem. That's where he was born, lived, and where he spent a lot of his ministry time. But Tiberias is an area that has a lot of the smaller little villages and some of the smaller towns that Jesus went to during his 3-year ministry. And so that's why we're going to it, because there's a lot of really cool places in Tiberias that we get to visit. Anyway, just scroll down on this webpage. You get to see a lot of different things, a lot of different places that we're going to be visiting. And man, I'm really, really washed out. Sorry about that. Although my face doesn't matter, so ignore that. But we are going to do a little bit of serving. I did not anticipate that, but we are going to do some small serving. Serving in a variety of different schools, and we're going to serve in an Arabic school. We're also, I think, going to serve in a church. But there's going to be a lot of different things. Anyway, I'm not going to scroll through this whole thing. You guys can look at it on your own. But we're going to be visiting a lot of places. We're going to be walking a lot. So make sure you bring comfortable closed-toed shoes where you can walk for a long, extended period of time. I mean, our days are going to be upwards of 12, 13-hour days. So you better be ready and prepared for a lot of walking. But just some notes that I wanted to share with you guys real quick, and you guys can kind of ignore some of the other side notes. The one that I want you to really look at is this one right here. Again, I don't know if you can read that very well, but the very first thing that I want to address, and I talked to Linda about this at great length, and we're going to go over to this Google map. Many of you are intently watching and intensely watching the news right now about a lot of stuff that's happening in and around Israel, with bombings and attacks and just a lot of conflict going on. And when I spoke to Linda about this, she reassured me that all of this conflict that you see on the news, that's happening in and around the Gaza Strip. So this area right down here, this is where all that conflict is happening. Do not listen to what the news say. All right, all they're doing is kind of blowing up stories. They don't have all the facts. This is where those attacks are happening, because she actually has people on the ground in Israel right now, and they're the ones who are keeping an eye on all this stuff. All right, so this is coming straight from Praying Pelican. All the conflict is right here in the Gaza Strip. And it's also a little bit further south this way, southwest, and then southeast down in this area as well. We are not going anywhere near here. So we will land here in Tel Aviv, all right? And we will drive all the way up here, all right? And you can't see it right now, but right up in this area is where Nazareth and Bethlehem are at. This is the Sea of Galilee. You see the Dead Sea down here. We will go down here, but I'll get to that in a second. So we'll land here and we'll drive up to this area. And this is where we'll spend the first half of the week. Saturday, all day Sunday, most of Monday, I think. Or all day Monday and then most of Tuesday. And we'll be driving around this area right here where we'll stay in Nazareth. Bethlehem's in and around here as well. We'll hang out in Tiberias. And then at the back end of the week, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, we'll drive down over to Jerusalem. So we'll drive down this way and we'll go into Jerusalem and we will stay in Jerusalem. Now, real quick, when we stay in and around Tiberias, Nazareth, Bethlehem, when we stay up here in the Judean hill country, we're actually going to be staying in apartments. Now, they're not apartments like you think of them. I mean, they are apartments. They're buildings with rooms and stuff. But they have beds, they have sheets, they have pillows, they have blankets, bathrooms, running water, toilets, electricity, and even Wi-Fi. They do have Wi-Fi. They have Wi-Fi there, and they also have Wi-Fi on the bus that we're going to be staying on for the entirety of this trip. The bus that we'll be using for all of our transportation. So you will be able to, if you bring your phone, especially for the students, if you bring your phone, you can connect to Wi-Fi. You cannot use it to call or text message or anything like that. That you have to have international data, and so anyway. But you can use Wi-Fi. But at the end of the week, when we go to Jerusalem, we're actually staying in a 4-star hotel in Jerusalem, in downtown Jerusalem. That's where we're going to see many of the churches. We're going to see the Garden of Gethsemane. We're going to see let's go back to my notes because I have a bunch of notes here. We will see, we'll visit Capernaum, Bethesda. We'll visit the Mount of Transfiguration. So that's where Jesus takes Peter, James, and John up on a mountain, and Elijah and Moses appear, and Jesus has a conversation with them. The disciples say, hey, let's build up houses for each of you. And that's when Jesus kind of transforms into his heavenly self, into his divine nature. So we'll visit the Mount of Transfiguration. We'll visit the site where the wedding banquet takes place, where Mary, Jesus' mother, says, hey, we've run out of wine. We need some help. Can you help us? And Jesus turns water to wine. So we'll visit that site. We will also visit the River Jordan. And now I think almost everybody that's going on this trip has already been baptized. But if you have not been baptized, we can baptize you in the River Jordan. And we can also do a reaffirmation of baptism. It won't be a baptism, so to speak, but we can do a reaffirmation of baptism. We will visit the Dead Sea. So after here, at the end of the week, we'll come down here to Jerusalem, and we'll come down here and visit the Dead Sea, where you can go in. And if you don't know this, it's the saltiest place on earth, and it's so salty that you don't need a life jacket, and you literally can float because of buoyancy and salinity, and just due to the chemistry of the lake. But we'll go here, and we'll it's really, really cold, by the way, so just be mindful of that. But bring your bathing suits. We'll go and we'll float for a little while, and then we'll stay in Jerusalem for the rest of the week. We'll visit the place where Jesus finally ascended. So if you guys remember my conversation at youth group last night, this was the the third Wednesday of May, because I don't know when you guys are watching this, but Wednesday, May 15th, when we were talking about patience, and I read from Acts chapter 1, when Jesus ascends in chapter 1, that's the site we're going to visit. So that last place where Jesus is with his disciples and he goes up into heaven for his final time and he never comes back, that's where we're going to visit. Also, in, I can't remember which gospel it is, but I think it's Matthew. I think it's near the end of Matthew. Jesus has this very long prayer before he enters into Jerusalem for his final time, before he gets arrested and before the Last Supper. He stands outside of Jerusalem and he prays over Israel and prays over his disciples. And he prays over all of creation, basically. We're going to visit that site. We'll visit the Garden of Gethsemane. We'll visit the tomb of Mary, the mother of Jesus, where she is currently laid. We'll visit Golgotha, the place where Jesus was crucified. We'll visit a place where people believe is Joseph of Arimathea's tomb that he lent to Mary when they put Jesus in the tomb on Good Friday, after he died on the cross, when they put him in the tomb. We'll visit what they think is that tomb. We'll also visit King David's tomb. So that's King Solomon's dad. We'll visit King David's tomb. And so, yeah, there's going to be a lot of places that we're going to visit. And I just wanted to share all this information with you so that you guys could have all the information that you possibly need as we continue to get ready for this. And now that I have this information, I'm going to begin the process of building a Bible study for the summer. But what's also really cool is that Linda told me come August, she's actually going to have a Bible study specifically geared towards our trip. So we'll do a Bible study that I'll put together, but then we'll do the one that Linda's putting together because she's actually been there. She's been in all these places, and so I trust that this is going to be a very beneficial Bible study for us. But other than that, again, I know there's conflict. I know that there's a lot of uneasiness and nervousness. But like I said, and what Linda shared with me is happening all down here. It's not happening here. It's not happening here. It's not happening up here. It's happening here and all the way down this way and all the way down this way. Okay? So you can rest assured that we're relatively safe. I mean, safe is a relative term, but yeah. Is there anything else that I need to share with you guys? My mind's kind of going a little blank right now as I'm trying to remember everything that she shared with me. I just had like an hour-long conversation with her. So there's a lot of information in my mind right now that I'm trying to process as I'm recording this video. Fundraisers. So there's 3 fundraisers that are coming up. The first one is, guys, please start writing letters. And right now, you just need to be writing letters to those that you know directly, all right? Write them letters and either hand it to them personally or mail it to their mailing address. And these letters, if you're well connected, are great sources of revenue for the fundraisers. It's also about prayer. Like, for example, I just wrote 2 letters to the senior pastor of the church that I grew up in Florida. And the individual, he's the former youth pastor at that church. Now he's an associate pastor at that church. He's my mentor in youth ministry. And I wrote him a letter. And in these letters, while I did talk about, the expense of the trip, I told him specifically that this really wasn't about money. It's seeking prayer. Write in this letter, about how important it is to you personally that these people pray on your behalf. You can, go in there and make a comment that, yes, I do want to share with you that trips like this are expensive. I will be participating in fundraisers throughout the year, and if you would like to donate, then see some information below at the bottom of this letter. For how to donate to me. But what I'm really wanting you to do, what I'm really asking is for prayer. Please pray for me. Now, write the letter how you see fit, but try to incorporate some of those key concepts, because that's kind of what I did. But letter writing, so please get onto it. You have to start doing your letter writing right now. You're watching Netflix, you're sitting in your bed, you're not doing anything. Kids, school's about to be out, so you have no excuse why you can't write letters. All right, school is about to be out. If it's not already out by the time you watch this video, you have time to write letters. So write letters, handwrite them, and write them in a legible handwriting so people can read it. All right, and write it to everybody you know. All right, just every single person you possibly know, friends, relatives, neighbors. Write everyone you know. And then this summer, I want to do 2 fundraisers. One, it was brought to my attention that we could potentially go to downtown Livingston and offer to wash the windows of the businesses in downtown Livingston. And so I'm planning, I want us to do that one Saturday. And the other one is we're going to be selling stocks. And so what this means is that each of you, you will sell stocks for yourself, on behalf of yourself, to the congregation. And then when we get back from our trip next March, we will plan a very fancy black tie dinner. And I talked to you guys about this at our last fundraiser, but we'll plan a black tie dinner. And that's where you kind of get to pay off your investments, or their investment. Or pay back their investment, which is a better way to say it, where you get to share your side of the story and share what you experienced and how those donations and how those individuals helped you experience something very powerful on this trip. So we're going to do those 2 things this summer, and then we'll do a couple other things. We'll do some more in the fall and Christmas time, but yeah. We have a lot to do, and we need to really start getting onto it. But if you have any questions, feel free to text me or call me, and I will do the best that I can to answer your questions. But again, guys, don't worry about anything. I don't want you stressing out. I don't want you afraid. God has everything under control. God has got the money set up for us. He's got the money lined up for us. We just have to be patient and wait and seek Him first, all right? So, yeah, that's basically about it. All right, guys, I love you very much, and I will see you later. Bye.